possibly return to the Lakers lineup sometime in between this road trip that they have coming up. Their next 7 games, the first game is at home, which is tonight versus Indy. But the Lakers are about to go to the east side for a 6-game road trip, including Brooklyn, Orlando. What other teams did they had to play? Philly, Miami. A couple of teams on the east that the Lakers are going to have to play on the 6-game road trip. Now, speculations are that Anthony Davis will make his return sometime in the middle of that. Now, also talks within that road trip, the biggest conversation, at least today, has been, will Frank Vogel even survive this road trip? Because I had my brother Good 7 on yesterday. We talked about Frank Vogel and his status as a coach with the Lakers. And Good 7 said that if the Lakers do not pull off the win tonight versus Indy and start the road trip off with a loss against Orlando, Frank Vogel might be done after the first game of the road trip. And I agree with him 100%. I don't see any type of scenario that Frank Vogel can lose the game tonight and they lose the first game on the road against the Orlando Magic and Frank Vogel still keeps his job. I think it's just irrelevant. It's just a timetable matter as far as when he's going to be gone. Now, the only downside to this whole situation is that the assistant coach, David Fizdale, when Frank Vogel wasn't in coaching, I think Fizdale this year substituting for Frank was like 1 for 4, 1 for 5 as far as a record. So not that great production on that end. The Lakers, I think, are playing a little bit better overall, less turnovers, LeBron in his bag, but they still up and down like a roller coaster. So Anthony Davis, he underwent an evaluation Monday with team doctors, determining that recent tests has showed no damage. He hasn't played a game since he had sprained his lead ligament back in December the 17th in that loss to the Timberwolves. According to people with knowledge of the situations, there's big-time optimism that AD could return during this team's 6-game road trip. I wouldn't rush AD back. I really would not rush AD back. If I'm going to see Anthony Davis play, it would probably need to be at the end of this road trip at all. Because the biggest team that they're going to face, or one of the biggest teams that they're going to face, is going to be KD and the Brooklyn Nets. Well, no KD because KD is out. So you're going to be playing the Brooklyn Nets without Kevin Durant. And if it's in the Barclays Center, you more than likely not going to have Kyrie on the floor. So I would not risk Anthony Davis coming back to play some of these games, because if you can't beat Brooklyn without Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, you need to go back to the drawing board anyway. That's another scenario that I could see Frank Vogel not surviving as a coach. You throw Philly in there, you throw Miami in there, some good ball clubs, deep ball clubs. But the Lakers are going to have to show some conviction. And Frank Vogel to me, it's a little bit too late. But the decision that he made to sit Russell Westbrook down in the fourth quarter of the win versus Utah, those are the types of moves and decisions that Frank Vogel is going to have to make. Putting LeBron James at the 5 is only going to last you but for so long, especially when you got your second best player not playing. So we're going to see how this thing actually plays out. I don't know. His knee didn't respond well with the bruise initially, but they're saying that, within this next week or two, we could see Anthony Davis back on the basketball court. In 27 games this season, Anthony Davis has only averaged 23.3 points a game, just under 10 rebounds. The Lakers are 6-8 since he suffered from that sprained ligament, not counting the loss in Minnesota the night that it actually happened. So even when Anthony Davis was on the court, we wasn't getting the same AD that we're accustomed to. We damn sure didn't get that AD from 2020. So we're going to see how this thing play out at the end of the day. Again, there's just so many elements that's going on with the Los Angeles Lakers right now in this big-time road trip. When you look at it, when the Lakers return back to Los Angeles from this road trip, they could have a new coach and AD back. or they could have a new coach and still no AD. Now, how Russell Westbrook and the rest of the gang, how they're going to play throughout this road trip, going to be very interesting. It's going to be key. I don't think the Lakers can survive anything long-term without having LeBron, AD on the floor. With or without Russell Westbrook, you don't have a chance in hell if you're in the purple and gold of winning any type of real hardware or even going to the playoffs if you cannot get Anthony Davis and LeBron on the court at the same time, with Anthony Davis stepping his game up a little bit more. LeBron is in his 19th year. LeBron out there looking like an MVP. Kudos to that. But the driver's seat should belong to Anthony Davis. And ever since last year, I have not seen that conviction. I have not seen that vibe from AD. So I don't know if Anthony Davis is satisfied with being a champion already, if he's just truly injured and he's still trying to get himself together. But when he did play, I just was not sold on the production and what we were receiving. So you guys let me know what y'all think about Anthony Davis returning to the Lakers sometime within this road trip. I would not force it. Like I said, if I was the Lakers, more than likely, I would just leave it alone, let him come back once they get back home, and then, work their way towards the All-Star break. Salute to my brother Atlanta since 82, man. Happy New Year, man. It's been a minute since I done chopped it up with y'all, man. Happy New Year to you and the family. Just coming through, man, letting y'all know it looks like Anthony Davis could be returning to the Lakers sometime within the next week, the timetable looking like. But again, if the Lakers start off slow with this road trip, or if they get blown out, because the reports were yesterday that Frank Vogel is on a day-by-day type of situation. So all it's going to take is one blowout. And I think that the damage will be done and Frank Vogel will be out of a job. So these next 5 to 7 days are going to be so crucial when it comes to the future of the Los Angeles Lakers. And we're going to have to figure out, what's going to be next. Because like I said, more than likely, if they get rid of Frank Vogel, the next man up is going to be David Fizdale, the assistant coach of the Lakers. But when he was coaching in substitution for Frank this year, he went 1-4, 1-5. So not a lot to be looking forward to, but this is about to be clutch time going into the All-Star break of this NBA season. In other news in the NBA, we're going to stay with the LA squad, but we're going to go across the hall to Paul George and the Clippers. So the Clippers are actually extending Paul George's period of rest for the torn collateral ligament that he has in his right elbow a couple more weeks, according to sources at ESPN. Now, PG has not played a game since scoring that 17 points in that win versus the Sacramento Kings on the 22nd of December. He had initially suffered the sprained elbow against the Blazers this back in December the 6th. He rested in rehab for a couple weeks. He missed 5 games. He came back and, kind of got messed up again. The MRI and the Clippers revealed on Christmas Day that he had that torn UCL in his shooting elbow. The initial timetable for Paul George would need to be 3 to 4 weeks before being evaluated or reevaluated. The Clippers right now sitting at 17-15 when Paul George last played. Without their star guard, the Clippers have gone 5-8 ever since. Very surprised about the production and the lack of success that the Clippers and the Lakers are having. Let's be honest. We would have definitely thought that both of those teams will be playing well over 500 basketball. Maybe not so much the Clippers because Kawhi's been done for the year. But I don't think we anticipated Kawhi to not get any bump. Now we got Paul George. They're giving him extra time to, rest up. So I don't know if the Clippers are really throwing in the towel early. They still got a shot, of course, for the playoffs or the play-in tournament. Same thing with the Lakers. I don't think these guys are waving the white flag, But it does seem to me a little bit that the Clippers are not pressed to make any run, because I think they know in reality, without Kawhi on the floor, they stand no chance. Even with a healthy Kawhi and a healthy Paul George, I still think the Clippers will be missing a piece. If those guys were healthy, I would say Dame Lillard could try his hand and go play with those guys for at least a year. But now that Kawhi's not coming back, now that they're giving Paul George a couple more weeks to get himself together, it's pretty much apparent that the Clippers are going to just have to rock out with what they have throughout the rest of the season. As far as the Lakers go, I don't really know if the Lakers are going to be able to pull any type of magical trades or anything like that, just for the simple fact there's nothing really available out there that they can afford. Yes, you got Ben Simmons. Yes, you got, Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox and some of these other guys. But at the end of the day, what does the Lakers have to offer? People don't want Russ. THT, who was untouchable at first, he's struggling. Dwight Howard not getting any play. Salute to all the NBA fans. This is your host, Seven Mitchell, with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. And if you too would like to start up your own podcast, just join the Anchor family. First of all, it's totally free, and free is good. Their creation tools will allow you to edit your own podcast right from your computer or mobile device. The Anchor platform will distribute your podcast so you can be heard on other platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Oh yeah, there's one other thing. You can make good money without any minimum listenership. I mean, it's everything you need all in one place. Join the Anchor family. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I'm Seven Mitchell with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. Enjoy the show. Yeah, it was known that Kawhi wasn't going to start the season, but I don't think a lot of people anticipated him to be out for the entire season this year. I thought at least that he would be maybe down until the All-Star break and then be ready to rock. But it doesn't seem like Kawhi Leonard is going to be playing at all this season. And Paul George, they're shutting him down for a little while. So this Clippers thing could be over as we speak. Only time will tell. The Lakers, again, like you said, they have nothing to offer in return. So really, they're going to have to deal with what they have. These guys are just going to have to play better. And whoever's coaching the Lakers is going to have to learn how to coach smart. That's the reason why, when they beat Utah the other night, even Russell Westbrook, he had to play the game with that body bag dunk on Rudy Gobert. But mind you, the Lakers were down, I believe, by 9 in the fourth quarter. And if it wasn't for Frank Vogel making the decision to sit down Westbrook for the majority of the fourth quarter and letting Austin Reeves play the point guard, the Lakers probably would have lost that game. We know the turnover ratio between LeBron and Russell Westbrook. We see time and time again how Russell Westbrook in the fourth quarter tried to force so many plays. He only played a little over 3 minutes in that fourth quarter. And I think that was key because they didn't have that many turnovers and they were able to fight back and they got the W. Utah Jazz is a playoff team. So those are the types of wins that the Lakers are going to have to kind of round and put in bunches. We've seen them beat some roller coaster teams before, but the Lakers need to get a couple W's versus some playoff caliber teams. But it's going to have to come with great decision making. And I just don't see it with Frank Vogel. This road trip is going to mean and define a lot depending on how they play, the attitude. Frank Vogel is on a day-by-day basis. I honestly don't think that he's going to survive through this road trip. But we'll have to see. Yeah, Black Sheep, my guy, my brother, salute Black Sheep, Big Bird. He called Big Bird, AD, Anthony Davis. They saying that he should be returning sometime between this road trip that the Lakers got, this 6-game road trip coming up. I just don't see the significance in rushing AD back, even when they play Brooklyn. You're not going to have Kevin Durant. Brooklyn's not going to have Kyrie Irving. So I don't see what's the need to really force him there. They do have to play Miami and Philly, a couple other solid teams on the East. But I just think that that's extra time for AD. not to force him back. Of course, you're looking for chemistry and rhythm because him, LeBron, and Russell have not played that much this season. But the Lakers have no chance of doing anything this year, big time or long term, if AD is not present. And AD has to step it up. He has to step it up because even when he was on the court, he only averaged about 23 points a game. And that's not General Anthony Davis's numbers. I don't know, man. I don't want to force it, though. You know what I mean? If they could use him because they got some playoff caliber teams in the Eastern Conference that the Lakers are going to be facing. So, Black Sheep, you're right. They could definitely use him and need him. But if he gets re-injured, you can just cancel out the rest of the year. Even if Russell Westbrook, gets better with the turnovers, LeBron's playing pretty well, they need AD for a chance. And they need a good AD. So I just wouldn't rush it. You know what I mean? This is going to be the fourth year. We haven't seen a LeBron versus KD game in over 4 years. Yeah, but see, I like how you talk incomplete, Black Sheep. Black Sheep says LeBron plays no defense in late in games. But why is that? Let's talk about what he's being asked to do on the offensive side of the ball court. LeBron is in year 19. Yes, LeBron is not one of those guys that can sit down in a chair and lock you down in defense, but he can still chase. He still can chase you down. He can still play that safety position, so to speak, defensively. But at the end of the day, they need the offensive production from LeBron. They're not getting it from Russell. They're not getting it from Melo. And AD is not on the court. So even though you're right, Black Sheep, they need him. I don't think that's the answer defensively. I can't blame LeBron for that because of what's being asked of him on the offense. LeBron is 37 years old, year 19. And then you don't have your best player, playing with you. And then you got Russell Westbrook, who's the point guard, leading the league in turnovers. It's a tough call. Now, I can accept that. All right, man. Peace to my NBA family. It's your host, Seven Mitchell, with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. I just wanted to take this time out to say thank you to each and every one of you guys for so much support for the podcast. I hope you guys are really enjoying some of the outside the box angles we take, bringing you these NBA storylines. Please don't forget to like and share. Most importantly, rate the podcast. You can follow us on social media. All the links will be in the description. And if you would like to contribute to the Best of Seven Sports Talk platform, we have merchandise available, as well as links for the merch, and donations will be all in the description. Once again, thank each and every one of you guys in the NBA community for supporting the show. This is Seven Mitchell with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. Let's talk some NBA action. LeBron needs to set the tone for the rest of the ball players. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to go no further than LeBron and AD takes you. So maybe LeBron James could definitely do a better job of, like you said, setting the tone, setting a standard defensively. But again, they don't have a bunch of rookies. Avery Bradley is a great defensive player. He knows what to do. Dwight Howard is a 3-time defensive player of the year. He's not even getting any minutes. So this goes back to Frank Vogel and the decision-making. Just all over the place. Now, Black Sheep said LeBron needs to go back to the point guard and put Russell Westbrook at the 2 guard. But the Lakers was only successful when they brought LeBron down to the 5. But that's only going to be short-term. That can't last forever. So we are seeing Frank Vogel directly and indirectly getting exposed. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting, but it start off tonight. They're at home versus the Indiana Pacers tonight. Then they go on that 6-game road trip on the East Coast. It's going to be very interesting, but they do expect Anthony Davis to come back soon. We're just going to have to see how that play out. I'm about to get up out of here, man. It's 7 Mitchell with the Best of 7 Sports Talk. Salute to everyone that tapped in with the live chat. I'll come back later on. We'll talk more NBA basketball. I just wanted to drop the news and an update on AD as well as Paul George. Paul George is going to be given a couple more weeks because of his ligament damage. So I don't know what the case is with the Clippers, but I will say I'm very surprised to see where the Clippers and the Lakers are currently based off of what my expectations was in the offseason. But we still got some basketball left. You guys are now rocking with the best. Salute to everybody out there. Make sure y'all subscribe to my bro, Black Sheep. Big up to my guy, Anthony, Atlanta since 82. Y'all stay safe, and I'm out of here. Peace, y'all.
Folks, man, it's
so?
looking kind of crazy.
I'm not sold, bro. I'm still not sold.
What?
There's no denying that they're going to be a tough exit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really want – he's had so much rest. He's going to be going hard. But it's that supporting cast, y'all. I'm not sold on them boys, Blake Griffin and them.
I mean, Seth Curry, to me, unfortunately, is an X factor for me. So if you get Seth Curry healthy and you get your bigs going and you get a solid rotation, and that young boy, I don't know if Cam is ready or not yet. I don't know. It's really going to come down. Honestly, the X factor to me is Steve Nash, bro. Steve got to do a better job, man.
He's not the right fit, yo. Didn't we have this conversation about this before?
Yeah, we did.
Steve is not the right fit for the fucking job, yo. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, Steve, man. I feel like with Steve, bro, we gotta figure out what's going on as far as what he needs to do, like these rotations that he does, and figure out who can really play. Because, you know, just playing Kyrie and Kevin Durant to save the day 40 minutes a game for 7 games is kind of nuts. You know what I mean?
Be enough. And they don't have home court advantage. It ain't like they're in the top of the standings in the Eastern Conference, so they're going to be on the road.
Yeah. Now, the backside to that is like, well, I mean, does anybody really want to see Kyrie and KD 7 games straight other than the Bucks?
Well, I'll tell you this. if the season, I could be wrong, but I believe if the season ended today, Brooklyn would have to face Toronto, or would they have to face Miami? I think Brooklyn would have to face Toronto.
It'll be the play-in, so I think they'll have to face Toronto.
And because Toronto's got the mandate, Kyrie couldn't play.
Yeah, but the good thing is for a play-in game, you can lose one and then win the other one. And them other 2 guys ain't beating the Nets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's more so like, hey, man, how much rush y'all want? Y'all want to play an extra game, or y'all want to just get this over with? You know?
I'm surprised you ain't mentioned Ben Simmons. When you talked about X factors and keys to this thing, you never mentioned Ben Simmons. Are you good with him not playing? I mean, does it seem realistic that he will not be in the next uniform?
Listen, I ain't saying nothing else about Ben Simmons until I see him in uniform on the court. I done spoke about him about one too many times on this show, and he makes me look stupid every single time. So therefore, going forward, until I see him in the lineup or somebody's lineup, bro, nah, bro, I ain't mentioning him, G.
We've been giving him a lot of passes, man, a lot of benefits of the doubt. We've been showing Ben Simmons some love, bro.
Facts. And we wouldn't do that.
Earning it.
We wouldn't do that for nobody else. That's what I'm saying. We wouldn't do that for nobody else. So I mean, I like Ben, but I mean they're killing Zion. Zion barely even played like maybe a whole season since he's been in, you know, and They're killing him. So for him, bro, you've been off a year and some change from a playoff game, bro. What's going on with you? You know? And I'm like, man, every time I'm like, yo, like, it's always like that hope factor. Like, you hoping that somebody's going to come. And it's like, it never comes. So it's like,
it's crazy.
Dog, I'm just going to wait till I see you, bro. We just going to have to run it without you. And you come in, you just get in where you fit in, for real.
Right. Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. What about, What do you think about LeBron? Do you think he can hold off and get the scoring title? And if you think he can do it, what does that do for the GOAT conversation, if anything?
Doesn't do anything for the GOAT conversation, sir.
No, okay. I just want to see. I got to put all this thing in perspective because see, these is conversations that we're gonna revisit. So I be just trying to get people documented and just try to get their word. And okay, so means nothing.
It doesn't mean anything. Look, I mean, it's already, for me, LeBron's like legacy is already established. This is just like extra accolades right now. As far as like that window for him being the GOAT, I mean, if we're going off of championships and, for the era, I don't like doing the conversation no more because that just starts a whole nother can of worms. So
wait a minute. We got to start this conversation. Why do you hate this conversation so much? Because he's went to the finals more than Jordan.
Man, it's no winner. It's no winner with you LeBroners, man. It's no winner with y'all.
So let me ask you this.
Y'all just gonna say what y'all gonna say about LeBron, and I'm just gonna be like, look, man, listen. It's been so many times where, okay, y'all gonna make the argument about the Golden State conversation. Then it's gonna be, he brought these guys by himself, and
was it a lie?
Y'all gonna? I mean, it's not a lie, but I can only go off. I can only go off. I say you've been there, so like, how many times he been there? And then how many times has he came through?
About 50%.
I don't see nobody really scared. Like nobody really has like the chokehold on the NBA like Mike did, man. People were really scared of Mike. I don't
because
think
Michael
really be scared of LeBron, man.
Because MJ wasn't a people's person, and MJ didn't look out for people. Let's keep it 1,000. LeBron looks out for the league. He looks at the other players as his brother. On and off the court, LeBron is linking up, tapping in, going to dinner, doing all types of stuff that Jordan didn't do. So these guys are reluctant. They really don't have no need to hate or be afraid of LeBron because LeBron has already kind of bridged the gap. Jordan never dealt with anybody. So when you got someone that's kind of standoffish and dominant, it will generate a fear factor. But with LeBron, I feel like it's not off of his talent. I just think that because he's such a people's person versus how Jordan was. But I'm not going to fault him for it. That does not determine what the numbers show. That's what I'm saying. Regardless if he's a nice guy, a sassy mama mentality, all this other crap y'all talking about. The numbers show LeBron is the man.
If we want to talk numbers, I mean, Kareem should have been the GOAT a long time ago. If we really being fair about you want to talk numbers, I mean, what are we talking about here?
That story about to be written all over after next season. You already know. LeBron about to take that, and that's a wrap. So let me ask you this, because, see, you're playing games right now, and I didn't expect you to be so disrespectful tonight. I did not expect this. So let me ask you this, because you said it's not going to matter in the GOAT conversation if LeBron holds off and get the scoring title. What if LeBron somehow gets another NBA title? Are you telling me that holds no weight in the GOAT conversation?
No, it does. It does. Especially, listen, I think I don't know if I told you this. If he would have somehow bring Russ and got him to the championship and they win the championship with Russell Westbrook, I would have said that he's the GOAT.
This is why I respect you so much, because of those little intangibles, because no one else is going to take Russell to the promised land. I can dig it.
At this point right now, me going back and forth about Mike and LeBron is like battle rap. You know what I'm saying? It's preference 2-1 either way. That's just how it goes, dude. 2-1 either way. You know what I mean? So
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Bro, what did you think about last night, man, in Miami with the Heat and Jimmy Butler are exposed to Udonis Haslem now? Without really finding out what actually happened in detail, I kind of went off. I said the Miami Heat need to get rid of Udonis Haslem because he just seems to forget where he be at sometimes. I know he's the enforcer. That's what they got him there for, but I feel like he'd be just so out of control, out of body, and I think it's going to get ugly eventually. And
if it was against anybody else, If it was against anybody else, I would feel that way. But because it was Jimmy Butler is just as with the shits as he is. And we know what Jimmy Butler, you know what I'm saying, he gets in that bag. The reason he's even with the Heat is because he's that type of mentality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what got him there. You know what I'm saying? So I knew nothing was really going to happen. I mean, everybody,
All right, man. Peace to my NBA family. It's your host, Seven Mitchell, with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. I just wanted to take this time out to say thank you to each and every one of you guys for so much support for the podcast. I hope you guys are really enjoying some of the outside-the-box angles we take, bringing you in these NBA storylines. Please don't forget to like and share. Most importantly, rate the podcast. You can follow us on social media. All the links will be in the description. And if you would like to contribute to the Best of Seven Sports Talk platform, we have merchandise available, as well as links for the merch, and donations will be all in the description. Once again, thank each and every one of you guys in the NBA community for supporting the show. This is Seven Mitchell with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. Let's talk some NBA action.
NBA players be talking. Ain't no punches getting thrown.
Wait a minute, D. You making it seem like this is, so you're saying this is no big deal?
I'm not saying it's not. I feel like, okay, that's something they need to talk about behind the scenes so it doesn't, so, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't, you start scaring the white people. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to start
Yes, you don't want to do that. It's the playoffs. You do not want to, in Miami at that, you do not want to scare the white people.
But nah, I feel like that's not their first time talking to each other that way. And I feel like that's probably, it just, they're losing. Everybody's upset. You know what I mean? That's just how it go, man. And some people, when they get in that, they got this so much, these things happen, man. You know what I mean?
Two things can be true. And I'm not going to disagree with none of the points you made. But all in the same, with all due respect, this is blasphemous. Because what's happening is the culture is disrespecting the future when it comes to the Miami Heat. Udonis Haslem is getting a pass for being so disrespectful to the guy who basically made Miami relevant in the last 2 seasons. Let's keep it real. Who's more of an asset to winning when we talk about that franchise at this point, Jimmy Butler or Udonis Haslem?
Yeah, I mean, on the court, yeah. You're going to say Jimmy Butler. That's just is what it is.
And I'm looking at this situation like I understand Udonis is the original. Like he's part of the Miami Heat culture, and he's the quote unquote bodyguard for Eric Spoelstra. I get all that crap,
man.
But this is also a business, and we're talking about the guy who has put y'all on y'all shoulders, because Udonis was on the team all this time and ain't did nothing.
Nah, I mean, at this point, Udonis might as well just be an assistant coach rather than just take up a roster spot. And I feel like that'll probably be better for him. Maybe that's what he kind of is, that player coach. You know what I mean?
Jimmy's gone. Jimmy's
you
gone.
Think so?
Jimmy's gone. Bro, you're right. Jimmy is one of those guys. You know what I mean? And sometimes this type of stuff do get people motivated and inspired. But when you look at the track record from Chicago to Minnesota to Philadelphia and what has happened, Jimmy's gone. Jimmy don't play games when it comes to teammates. We see what happened to Cat and Wiggins, and what happened in Philly. Now Philly wanted to keep him, but
how old is Jimmy?
I don't know. Jimmy's got to be in his early 30s. You know what I mean? He got a little bit of mileage. He'll never be a number one in my eyes. He'll always be someone that's going to need help. But I don't think he's going to stay in Miami after that disrespect. I don't say it all. Now, I'm not saying that he was right for what he said to Eric Spoelstra. I'm not really giving him a pass either. But Eric Spoelstra, a grown-ass man.
Nah.
And if Udonis wanted to address Jimmy, I felt like the way he did it, that should have happened in the locker room.
Yeah, that's definitely a locker room thing.
They did that shit mid-game. He told him, I'm going to fuck you up. And I'm like,
the problem with Jimmy,
first time.
The reason I don't think Jimmy's going to leave, though, because, I mean, ain't nobody going to pay Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially what he's getting paid with Miami, nobody else is going to pay him that. And I hope he wouldn't be expecting that.
But we know Jimmy White. I think you could agree that Jimmy seemed to be wired a little different. I don't think Jimmy is geared. His gear money drives him
Nah. He wants. He's definitely trying to get a championship. You see that every time Jimmy do get on the floor, I do see that he gives 1,000%. You know what I mean? But at his age, and I mean, but a lot of the stuff that he's great at is starting to kind of take a bit of a step. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I don't know.
That was nasty,
man.
though, bro. And that's not the first time we done seen that this season alone, from teammates going at each other in the middle of a basketball game, professionals.
Lakers
that shit is not a good
Lakers
look.
got into it earlier this year, didn't it?
Yep,
With Anthony Davis? Yeah.
Yep, and Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
I called for Frank Vogel's job when that happened.
Yeah.
You know
Nah, it definitely shouldn't be tolerated, man. But I don't know. When you get, a lot of these guys get spoiled. They get money. You know what I'm saying? Then, you think, okay, you may not be as good as me, but you're not going to disrespect me.
Right.
You know how it go, bro. It just is what it is. But yeah, as far as for Udonis, nah, bro. You just got to play your position and just, go on about your business. You ain't have to take it to where you took it. You know what I mean? So
I'm concerned now, bro, because, I had Miami and the Lakers as my picks for the NBA Finals. The Lakers is one conversation, but after what I saw last night from Miami, the situation is going to either make or break them, period. Because like you said, they haven't been playing great basketball lately.
I don't think they were going anyway because, when you get to the playoffs, the stars are the ones that kind of pull you through, and they don't have that particular talent that can really, this ain't like the bubble. You know what I mean? Like when I say that, you got teams that are deep, like the Celtics and the Bucks that could run 11 deep, 10, 11 deep. Miami could do the same thing, but the talent and the size is different.
It's not the same. Right. It's not the same.
So
like Tyler Hero's playing well this year. I think he's averaging about 26 a game, but he didn't play last year. He didn't play last.
You tell me.
Yeah. Consistency.
I gotta see it in the playoffs.
Right.
And I seen him disappear
last year.
We didn't know where the hell he was,
But he did his thing in the bubble. He did his thing in the bubble in the playoffs in 2020. So, but you're right, though. We do got to see a level of consistency. Even Bam got to play better. Like Bam, he been injured, but Bam kind of fell off. And I think Victor Oladipo, he's still stuck in the wind over there. Kyle Lowry, man. I know for a fact Miami did not get what they thought they was going to get out of Kyle Lowry. And I said from the jump, man. That was just not a good fit. His heart is in Toronto.
Nah. Yeah, that. And then the fact he can't stay in front of the guards that are in the East. He can't stand in front of nobody from the East, bro.
Right.
No way. So, since you up here, Laker fans, so all the Lakers did yesterday was show me that Philly was just not that team.
Who won last night?
Even more.
I've been afraid to look at the box score, so I don't know if Lakers won or not. Did the Lakers win?
It was like Philly won, but it was close and without LeBron. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we borderline out of the play-in. Like we're not in a comfortable position at all.
No,
like New Orleans and San Antonio, right behind us.
You still gotta save LeBron to try to. He's gonna be gassed out by the time he get there.
If AD is not ready by game 1, 100%, this shit you can just blow it up. I'm talking the play-in. If AD is not 100% ready by game 1, it's a done deal because you can't expect LeBron to carry the shit for the first round by himself. Unless Russell start having out-of-body experiences every night.
Russell's. I guess he had an okay game, and then it just got worse and worse, and you like, dog. Come on, Russ.
Be on the lookout for a lot of coaches to get exposed, bro, for the rest of the year, including the playoffs. I think in the offseason, we're going to see like a coaching carousel of different people being fired, from Tom Thibodeau in New York to probably Frank Vogel and in LA, and some more moves. Maybe Doc Rivers in Philadelphia, depending on how that shit play out. Sometimes we have free agency being the big news and stories in the offseason. I think coaching carousel and firing is going to be the big deal
Oh
in
no,
the
yeah,
offseason because a lot of people ain't been doing their job, bro.
huge deal. And
salute to all the NBA fans. This is your host, Seven Mitchell, with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. And if you too would like to start up your own podcast, just join the Anchor family. First of all, it's totally free, and free is good. Their creation tools will allow you to edit your own podcast right from your computer or mobile device. The Anchor platform will distribute your podcast so you can be heard on other platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Oh yeah, there's one other thing. You can make good money without any minimum listenership. I mean, it's everything you need all in one place. Join the Anchor family. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I'm Seven Mitchell with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. Enjoy the show.
I'm looking at, like I said, we're looking at Brooklyn crazy. Celtics look like he might be the guy that's over the Celtics. Look like he might be coach of the year.
And look how slow they started. They was a joke
like
at the beginning.
They did not look like that. So yeah, once you got that culture established, you got them boys playing. And you look at for the Bucks never lost a step.
Right.
Nobody really believes in the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? So it's real crazy. Even with Phoenix has been the most consistent team even without Chris Paul. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well,
they clinched the number one seed tonight with a win.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, maybe because of they're not like loud or they're not like a main one of these big teams. You know what I'm saying? They should get a lot more credit, man. These guys that was just in the championship last year, they got to get a lot more credit than what they've been getting. I understand Golden State and Los Angeles are your hot teams, and Brooklyn. And now Brooklyn's about to get a lot of the spotlight is going to be on them going forward because now it's like, okay, so where are y'all going to place now that Kyrie is back? Y'all already took a L last night, a L that they didn't need to take. But, I mean, when you let a team score 70 points by halftime, bro, I mean.
Who was that? Who did that?
What are we doing here?
Who did that? Who did that?
Memphis.
Memphis
and the Nets.
Oh, versus Brooklyn. Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, with Memphis, man.
Sold on them young boys? I'm not sold on Memphis in no playoffs.
Let's see it for 7 games, man. I mean, it looked cute. It looks cute when you're hot. But for 7 games.
Yeah, bro. That's what I'm talking about.
It just looks different. It looks different. Now, I think Ja is the superstar I think he is. He may carry you for a series. But when you go up against like Phoenix and Golden State and these more experienced teams, man, I don't know.
He needs help. If he make it to the Western Conference Finals, he better have somebody to help him because they're not going to get further than that.
It's going to make or break him because we're going to see who shows up and who disappears. And it always happens every year. You always see who shows up is the guy. And then sometimes you see the guy that's been the guy all season. And then you get to the playoffs and you just, where you at? You was here this whole time. Now when I need you, you're not here. So
Yep.
That's just what it is.
I'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bro. Salute to you. Appreciate you tapping in with me this evening, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
You know, I holler back at you.
Always. And just be on the lookout for the football podcast too.
Yeah, man. Whenever you ready to chop it up, bro, you know I got you covered. Any type of graphics or anything you need for your shit, you know, I'll put it together for you. So let me know when you ready.
Appreciate it, dude.
All right, G. Holla. Peace. All right, let's get right into it, man. Episode 117. We are back. Salute to all my NBA sports junkies. Y'all know what this is, man. Welcome back to the Best of Seven Sports Talk. We got a lot to talk about in the association. Y'all know who I be, man. Seven Mitchell in the building. Like I said, man, episode 117. I'm so excited. Joining me today, I got a special guest for this one. We about to turn it up, man. One of the best when it comes to the NBA reactions, man. My bro. It's just JP, man. JP, let the people know, man, what's good, man. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming on board, man. We got a lot to talk about tonight.
Man, I'm excited, man. When you gave me that invite, I was like, man, I better be on the show, man. So I'm excited just to be on and blessed and thankful, man. And thank you so much for the love and support, man. I'm excited to be here, man.
Bro, you doing your thing, man. I know we haven't like really linked personally, but I'm proud of you, man. You've been doing your consistent work and it's paying off. I see that you done had your channel for about 2 years now.
Yeah, almost about 2 years. I think August is going to be, 2 years. And I'm just blessed and thankful that people like these videos and reactions because people don't really understand behind the scenes how much work we put into making reactions. I'm sure your YouTube channel, you put a lot of work into it behind the scenes, and you just try to put it out there for the people, man, to give them, analysis, give them reactions, you give them everything, and it's a lot of work, but I'm blessed and thankful that people respect me and love and appreciate what I do in terms of my craft. It makes me feel really good about myself.
Yeah, bro, you got some authentic, real, good work, man, and it's consistent. That's the biggest key because anybody can make a good video here and there, but your consistency, is definitely going to pay off. So salute to you.
Thank you, brother.
Now, with everything going on in sports, JP, why did you really lock into NBA or basketball? What's the backstory with you and hoops that kind of make you target this element when it comes to content creating?
I've been a fan of basketball since the 7th grade. I just really got into basketball playing and also watching a lot of basketball, watching a lot of old school and like learning behind the scenes, learning about the old school NBA to, right now, NBA. When I started my YouTube journey, I started doing all sports and I started seeing that my basketball content kind of was getting more popular than my football, wrestling, baseball takes. So I was like, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and keep going with basketball because it's something that I love, something that I am very passionate about. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna focus on my niche just to try to get more views, try to get more subscribers. I said, hey, let me go ahead and react to NBA videos. Let me do reactions. Let me do skits. Let me do analysis, breakdowns, anything, NBA. And it was really paying off. And I'm just blessed to be doing this platform and blessed that I'm getting a really good response from everybody. And also in Twitter too as well, hopping on the Twitter spaces and talking basketball, and everybody really enjoyed my analysis. So it's just something that I am just passionate about since middle school, and it's just really just taken off for me.
You the franchise player, bro. What the fuck can we say, man? JP is the franchise player. Y'all know the vibes, man. Salute to you on that, man. So how excited have you been for this particular NBA season, man? There's so many storylines from injuries to trades to free agency to just a lot of stuff happening this year. How excited have you been so far with the first half of basketball in the NBA?
I've been excited and been disappointed. Excited in terms of like seeing really good competition, seeing that both conferences are actually playing really well. We'll get into like what's the better NBA conference too later on. Just the level playing field and being able just to see that we've seen a lot of young rising stars like a John Moran or a Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, like just taking over, the game and everything. Well, we were saying LeBron's the best player in the world and KD's right behind him. And then, LeBron's getting kind of older. KD's probably the best player. Giannis is the best player. Like, we just don't really know. It's like when LeBron retires, who's going to be the face of the league?
Word.
You got so many rising stars that it's just unbelievable. Just the competition, the MVP race. Like, we're finally seeing centers, winning MVP trophies. Jokic won MVP, and in this year, he could possibly win it, or Embiid could win it. Yep. Like, just finally just seeing just a center being able to be in the MVP conversation and bringing back that center game. It's just been an exciting season, seeing like people that, like a DeMarcus Cousins getting just bounced from like a lot of teams and then having a really nice game for himself. Seeing Karl-Anthony Towns score 60 points last night.
Yes.
And, with the loss of his mother, during COVID and everything. So it's just been an exciting season. I really enjoyed the games, enjoyed the storylines with Harden going to Philly, Ben Simmons going to Brooklyn. It's just been exciting. It's just been exciting.
That's dope, bro. Now, recently everybody and their mama has been putting up 50 points. Like, I
Yes.
had to check my mama's stat sheet to see if she put up 50 recently. Like, are you surprised to see so many 50-point games from players as of late? It seems to be a trend.
It's just been it's been surprising, but at the same time, it's just respect to the players in their game. Like LeBron scoring 56, seeing KD score 53, seeing Jason Tatum have these 250-point games. John Morant, 52.
Yeah. And then LeBron had a 50-point triple double after that.
Exactly. So it's it's been exciting, and people really trying. I see LeBron trying to win the scoring title this year. Him and NB going for the scoring title. So, yes. But it's just been exciting. It's just been exciting of basketball. Not only the 50 points. Klay Thompson came back this year. Like everybody was just like exploding for his return, and then seeing Draymond Green missing months, getting a standing ovation. Isaiah Thomas getting a standing ovation. When Charlotte faced Boston, just the respect that that he got. It's been really awesome, and just seeing like the players do their thing, being crafty, scoring the basketball, layups, 3-point shot, 2-point shot. I mean, it's been crazy.
Right,
I must say.
This is the Best of 7 Sports Talk, man. So before we get into the first topic, JP, just let everybody know where they can follow you at on social media before we rock and roll. About to get into it.
Oh, yeah, man. You can follow me on Twitter, JP@JPFranchise57. I finally hit 1,000 followers. I'm so blessed and thankful for that. You can follow me on Instagram, JPayton57. I got my Facebook, Justin Payton. TikTok, I finally made a TikTok, so it's going to be Justin Payton 57, and I've been doing a lot of TikTok in terms of like games. I did a tribute to Scott Hall, who passed away last night.
Peace, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon, the bad guy. So, and that's getting a bunch of views too. So you can follow me there, and then you can follow me on my YouTube channel. It's just JP, making a lot of basketball content, doing reaction videos, and on the way to 1,500 subscribers. So.
You're going to get there, bro, in no time. A salute to you, bro. You're definitely doing your thing. Now,
thank you.
Let's talk about conferences in the NBA. The Eastern Conference, they're pretty much the defending champs. Milwaukee won the championship last year. That was the last time the Eastern Conference has won a championship in, the last 5-6 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think will project right now being the best conference? Who do you like better as far as talent? And who do you think probably will walk away with the Larry O'Brien trophy? Do you see the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference being the best this season so far?
Man, that's a good question. I respect the Eastern Conference because for like a long time, the Western Conference has been like the dominant conference. And then after Kawhi won the championship in Toronto, everybody started, doing duo teams and leveling out the playing field. Kevin Durant going back to the East. James Harden going to the East. It's DeMar going to the East too as well. Like they're just leveling out the playing field. And seeing the Bucks win, that really made me excited to see finally an Eastern team winning the championship. I still think the West is slightly better, even though the East got 9 teams over 500, but the West is still loaded with so much talent. It's like you have to bring your A game every single night. From Phoenix to Golden State to the Mavericks to the Clippers is pretty good this year, to Utah, the Nuggets with Jokic just doing his thing, crazy and everything. So I still think they're slightly better, but the East has been really competitive, seeing Milwaukee, Miami, Philadelphia, Brooklyn getting, KD back and Kyrie playing, the away game. So they're kind of playing together. Boston Celtics being on a hot streak right now. The Chicago Bulls, Atlanta Hawks is trying to, get over 500. So it's been a level playing field, but I still think the West is slightly better. In terms of winning the O'Brien Trophy, at the beginning of the season, we were saying Phoenix or Golden State because they were the 2 superior teams that was like better than everybody else. And then after like the All-Star break, the Golden State Warriors has just been losing games crazy, with the loss of, with Draymond Green, being out, and then Wiseman, you could just have, and they have a bunch of weaknesses on that squad. But I still say that somebody from the Western Conference is going to win it. I want to still say Golden State has a better shot, though, but I'm not going to sleep on Phoenix because Phoenix, if Chris Paul comes back before the playoffs, I think they could be the favorites, but I think Golden State, with the depth and length that they have to figure out a way to, build that chemistry back, because they had that chemistry, and then Klay Thompson came back and kind of ruined the chemistry a little bit because Jordan Poole coming off the bench. It's like I'd much rather see Jordan Poole starting over Klay Thompson coming off the bench just so he get his legs underneath him. So I'll say Golden State might win it, but at the same time, and it's up for grabs. Like, we don't even know who's going to win it. It's up for grabs.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%, JP. I think at the end of the day, you got to put a lot of respect on the Eastern Conference. You talk about, DeMar DeRozan coming from San Antonio, going back to the East to play with Chicago. I like to see some of the stars and the superstars, bring it back to the East to play, like you said, make an 11 playing field. But at the end of the day, the West, these squads, they have so much talent. It's hard to beat them 4 times in a 7-game series at the end of the day when you ask me. Like, regardless of the struggles that LeBron and AD and Russell and them playing, I believe if they make the playoffs, it's going to be hard to beat them 4 out of 7 times. There's still LeBron James we're talking about. There's still Anthony Davis we're talking about. So the West, even though the East has been looking good, and then you also got to credit injuries. A lot of players on the West, a lot of stars have been injured, which have helped, the image of the Eastern Conference. A lot of those guys have been able to play for the most part. But, I agree. They're looking good over the East. But at the end of the day, I think the West is the better conference just because of the size of the talent pool. And I think that they're more gritty and they'll go further.
And also, the West had, like in recent years, they had better draft picks. They had better trades over there in the West. So that's why you see a lot of great talent pool over there in the West. And some probably didn't fit with the team, but they go over West and they just blossom into a really good player, You just don't really know with these draft picks and their potential. It just depends on the fit and the chemistry that they're on.
Now, a lot of people, JP, at the beginning of the season would have probably projected the Brooklyn Nets as well as probably the Lakers. Or, of course, you got your Phoenix fans, but there was a lot of talk about the Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets being the teams that represent those conferences. Are you surprised with the struggles that both of those franchises have had so far?
I'm surprised on the Lakers side because, if you on one of my videos, I said the Lakers is going to win it all because they had talent. They fixed their issue in terms of shooting. I said the only thing that's going to kill it is, maybe the chemistry issue, especially with West being with the Lakers. Like, I just didn't know it was going to be this bad. We didn't know we was going to get this type of Russell Westbrook. We thought we could get a different type of Russell Westbrook that could sacrifice for AD and LeBron, but he's not going to sacrifice. And plus the defensive side, they are not great defensively. Correct. And they're an old team, to pull off, But I thought, with the experience that they have, they could possibly win a championship. But it's just not working. A lot of turnovers, a lot of, not defense being played. Russell Westbrook is just not playing well. Frank Vogel's not really, the coach for the Lakers that could be the perfect fit. Just losing these young guys. They don't have a lot of young guys, on that team. So it's just kind of surprising, and then just AD just cannot stay healthy. Go ahead.
Do you see any chance in hell that the Lakers could somehow still make it to the NBA Finals, or do you think that this chemistry experiment that they have created is just blown up? There's nothing that can be done.
I don't think nothing can be done because I think Russell Westbrook is 1 foot out because you've been hearing a lot of rumors that Russell Westbrook wants to get traded after the season. I just don't think he's happy in L.A. Plus, with the whole thing with his family, people giving him death threats and everything to his family, I just don't think L.A. is just a perfect fit for him and all that. And that's okay. They tried it and, and they knew it was going to fail. LeBron made this roster, and LeBron, I got to put some blame on LeBron. I put blame on management, Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss. I have to put blame on them because this is not a great roster when you look at it at the end of the day because anybody could just beat them and all that. If you look at the last games of the regular season, they could probably win just 1 or 2 games, and that's really sad.
Right. They
could possibly get into the play-in, but I'm scared because New Orleans Pelicans got a lot better with C.J. McCollum going over to New Orleans, And then Portland, still no joke either. Simons and Josh Hart's actually been balling. So I'm afraid that they could miss the playoffs. But if they could get to the play-in and if AD could stay healthy, the best they could get into the first round, but I just don't see them beating Phoenix. I really just don't. In terms of Brooklyn, I just think that, KD, being out, because they were the number one team in the East before KD went out. Then the whole thing with Kyrie and the whole COVID situation, it just kind of ruined that for it. And then James Harden, getting not staying healthy, but also feeling frustrated because the offense is not going through him. And also just in terms of Kyrie's situation, Harden just wanted out and everything. So they're kind of just playing catch up. They're getting Steph Curry. They got Andre Drummond. Ben Simmons is supposed to be coming back. We don't know. But he's going to bring a lot of defense because the problem with the Nets is size. And then LaMarcus Aldridge came back. And then, getting Drummond and bringing back some size and then get a little bit of the defense too as well. They're kind of coming back a little bit, but is it too late? No, they got the chance to go into the play-in, and if everyone can stay healthy, that's going to be the problem for Brooklyn. But I just don't think that Steve Nash is the coach for the Nets. I think that if they got a different coach, I think the Nets could be a lot better.
Interesting. Now, what do you think about this whole Kyrie situation? Because, the mandate has just been kind of the big talk this week in New York because you see certain areas, they kind of dumbing down their restrictions, but Kyrie is still not able to play home games. How much is this really affecting Brooklyn's chances of winning the championship with Kyrie not being able to play as much in the regular season? How I guess concerned are you that chemistry is going to be a factor or a problem in the playoffs? Because I'm going to keep it a buck, JP, even though they haven't played a big sample size of games. When I see Kyrie and Kevin Durant on the court together, them boys is like water. So I just don't think that they're going to have a chemistry problem. To me, it's about defensive presence and these role players. Are they going to do their job? Salute to all the NBA fans. This is your host, Seven Mitchell, with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. And if you too would like to start up your own podcast, just join the Anchor family. First of all, it's totally free, and free is good. Their creation tools will allow you to edit your own podcast right from your computer or mobile device. The Anchor platform will distribute your podcast so you can be heard on other platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Oh yeah, there's one other thing. You can make good money without any minimum listenership. I mean, it's everything you need all in one place. Join the Anchor family. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I'm Seven Mitchell with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. Enjoy the show.
Exactly, and that's what's going to come down to. And then plus, Kyrie is not playing home games. He's playing away games. But when you look at the playoffs, they're going to be like, a low seed against somebody that's a high seed. So you're going to have more away games that could be an advantage for the Brooklyn Nets if they could get it to 7 games.
Correct.
The thing with Kyrie, at the beginning, I didn't really like his decision to not get vaccinated. I think everybody should get vaccinated just to protect themselves. But I understand that, he is, not, this is a personal decision for him, and he's still fighting by it and stuff. And I applaud him for fighting by it and everything and not complaining one bit. If he can't play, he can't play. But, the Nets, they were just so desperate when KD got hurt. They were like, well, okay, Harden, and, you got some role players. It's really hard. Joe Harris, haven't even played a game this season. So it's tough for Brooklyn. The chemistry is there with Kyrie and KD because they're going to score their points and everything. I think Steph Curry is going to be the new Joe Harris, but he's a little bit more better than Joe Harris in my opinion. And then Andre Drummond playing defense too as well. That the defensive presence, and then given, Nicholas Claxton as a backup, can rest Andre Drummond because, you really need him to play against like the big centers so that he doesn't get into foul trouble and everything. The key to it is the role players. The role players have to play, they will have to play really good. Like we saw Blake Griffin in the playoffs, the first 2 games played really well, and then he just disappeared after that.
But it's crazy because you bring up Blake Griffin's name. I just read a report of Blake Griffin being on social media complaining about him not getting any play. So that's crazy to me a little bit because I'm like, okay, you know what you was getting into when they had Harden, KD, and Kyrie. You knew you wasn't going to get that much bump. But it seems like now that Harden is leaving, and players are not getting the minutes, I guess they feel like they should got as far as an extension. There's rumblings in locker rooms. So, chemistry could play a factor with Brooklyn when it comes to the role players.
Yeah.
Not feeling like they want it.
It could be, It could be. If Blake Griffin's complaining about not getting a lot of play and everything, then, chemistry is definitely a factor in terms of it. Like I said, I just think Steve Nash, as much of a great player he is, I just don't think he's the right coach for this Brooklyn Nets team. You would need somebody that, you can help people accountable for and everything and could make that a better squad. So I just don't think he's the exceptional coach. Or Mike D'Antoni, I just don't think they're like the right coaches for Brooklyn. I think KD needs somebody that could, needs a coach that can motivate this team, that can just go out there and play. But if Kyrie is on the court, it just makes them really scary. So.
Do you have a name in mind when we talk about possible coaches that would be a better fit for the Nets, a better fit for Kyrie and Kevin Durant? Do you have a coach in mind?
Not exactly too sure of who will be like the perfect coach for him. I would love to see, I would love to see a Doc Rivers, but I know Doc Rivers over there in Philly, he got a better situation over there. I just don't really know, man. I just really just don't know who's out there coaching wise that could coach up really good for the Brooklyn Nets and all that. So, I mean, it's tough. It's really tough to think. You got a coach in mind?
I want to see Mark Jackson get a shot.
Mark Jackson, I mean? I like Mark Jackson. I think that, he don't really need to give him an identity. I think Brooklyn got an identity. They need a tough coach like a Mark Jackson. And plus, he can handle that New York media too as well because he's a New Yorker.
Correct. That's my biggest thing. He played in New York, so I think, that'll be a good fit. Let's get into the next topic, man. Who do you think JP is currently, in all honesty, who's the face of the NBA? Who's the face of the league right now?
Well, LeBron, as long as LeBron is still playing, he's going to be the face of the league. When he retires, you got a lot of good players that could be the face of the league. Giannis could be the face of the league, just because, because when you're the face of the league, you got to deal not only with your play, but also like the personality sales too. You can see a Luka Doncic, but Luka Doncic don't really have that personality. He just goes out there and play. So I can see Giannis could be the face of the league. You got a lot of potential candidates. LaMelo Ball, if he, has a potential, could be the face of the league if he only gets better and better. I also could see, John Morant that could be the face of the league, a guy that, got the personality and also is playing at a high level too as well. Right. Jason Tatum, I just think he probably got to be in a better market, like a bigger market, so that he could be the face of the league. The face of the league, I could see him. So, you got a lot of choices. You still got KD, that could be the face of the league too. So you got a lot of choices once LeBron retires. But right now, LeBron, is the face of the league. You need somebody that can not only, play and also have the personality. Anything that happens in terms of like, adversity and social justice, you need a player that could be spoken up to, that could,
be on the front
league in a way.
Be on the front lines. That's a fact. And it's beautiful, the names that you brought up. It just goes to show that the league is in good hands because you got so many young up-and-coming superstars that you named. And even in between those guys and LeBron being retired, you still got Steph Curry. And you mentioned KD. Kawhi's kind of iffy because, he's not real social media present-wise, but he's not a troublemaker. He doesn't get in a lot of trouble. So Kawhi, if he was to win some hardware, I think Kawhi could possibly, be a face of the league once LeBron leaves. But I agree, man. As long as LBJ is in the building, there's no denying that the king, to me, is the face, and rightfully so, bro, because like you said, what gets done on and off the basketball court, especially in 2022, that shit matters.
Yep.
And LeBron has never shied away from that.
No, he hasn't, and he's always been outspoken, which I respect so much about LeBron in his off court, what he does for kids, and what he's doing for the NBA. I think it gets a lot underappreciated because everybody talks about his play and him trying to be the greatest of all time, and everybody just don't really like LeBron. But what gets underrated is just the contributions he does, like off the court, and what he done for the NBA too as well. Like, you would have to give him a lot of respect for that. But the problem is everybody wants to go to his basketball play and just, don't even look at like off the court stuff.
Yeah, man, it's wild. We talked about LeBron having a couple 50-point games recently, but you look at the team's lack of success. What do you feel like LeBron has proven at this point? I mean, he's playing great individual basketball at year 19, but what is all these 50-point games, and what is this actually proving? What do you think, is happening with the King?
I just think that he's just trying to – I know he really wants to win a championship, but with the team that he has, it's not going to win. So we don't know how long he's going to be in L.A. I know he wants to play with the Sun. You can see a potential for him to go back to Cleveland to go play with the Sun and try to make a power move of it. He's also trying to be the greatest of all time. You see that he really wants to go get Kareem's record of the all-time scoring list.
Do you think that's the number one goal at this point of this season? He may not can accomplish it this year, but do you think that's the target, is to get closer to that more than making the playoffs? All right, man. Peace to my NBA family. It's your host, Seven Mitchell, with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. I just wanted to take this time out to say thank you to each and every one of you guys for so much support for the podcast. I hope you guys are really enjoying some of the outside-the-box angles we take, bringing you in these NBA storylines. Please don't forget to like and share. Most importantly, rate the podcast. You can follow us on social media. All the links will be in the description. And if you would like to contribute to the Best of Seven Sports Talk platform, we have merchandise available, as well as links for the merch, and donations will be all in the description. Once again, thank each and every one of you guys in the NBA community for supporting the show. This is Seven Mitchell with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. Let's talk some NBA action.
I think he's trying to make the playoffs more than he does with the scoring list. I think he's going to get it next season. I don't think he's going to get it this season, unfortunately. I think he's trying to focus on trying to get at least the Lakers to the play-in. He's trying to, wait for Anthony Davis just to get back on the court healthy so that they could possibly get into the play-in tournament, so that they could, make a run for it, at least to go make the playoffs, because there's not really a high chance of the Lakers making the playoffs by the way they've been playing their basketball.
Right.
And it's just not looking good right now. So, LeBron is going to do what he does on the court, and performs really well. But I just don't think that there's a high chance of them making the playoffs unless AD stays healthy, and then they can make a run in the play-in tournament.
Gotcha. Last topic, bro. Last question for you, JP. Coach Popovich, Greg Popovich, has become the all-time winningest NBA coach. Is Coach Pop the best coach ever in NBA history to you?
I think he's top 3. I think Phil Jackson's still going to be the greatest coach of all time. 11 championships, with the 6 with the Bulls and 5 with the Lakers. Phil Jackson's legacy, if you just look at his resume, it speaks for itself. Would I put him over a guy like Red Auerbach? I don't really think I'm going to put him over Red Auerbach, what he did for the Boston Celtics and winning championships with like a lot of players on that team that were all-stars as well. I think Coach is a top three all time. The question with Popovich is that much of a great coach that he was, we see in the back end of his coaching career, the Spurs have.
He got exposed.
He got really exposed. I think Popovich had Duncan for 20 years in the league. They didn't win that title in '99. I think Popovich would have been out. So they've been blessed and fortunate. And then RC Booth for making the great draft picks of Ginobili and Tony Parker, Kawhi Leonard. You know, you can name players on and getting people from, you know, different championships teams to fit with the chemistry with the Spurs. So, you know, and then have them play basketball, let everybody touch the basketball. So, you know, as great as it was, I just think that he just not showing the consistency as a coach in the back end, and it's just showing, you know, you got high future potential players like a Javante Murray and a Keldon Johnson. But it's just not showing in the records that, you know, the Spurs used to be.
He's too old school for that, man. At the end of the day, and when you think about it, you had Duncan and Robinson. They basically fell in his damn lap. Yep. You understand what I'm saying? And I will admit, I'll give the Spurs credit. You know, I'll call that experience a dynasty if you want to call it. But if I remember correctly, maybe I need to get a new television. I don't remember ever watching San Antonio go back to back or three-peating, you know, like Phil Jackson did and some of the other more dominant coaches in history. Not that should make or break anything, but, you know, Greg Popovich never won back-to-back championships. And like you said, once those Hall of Famers, you know, were out the building, to me, he was exposed.
Yeah, and, you know, after Duncan retired, so you had to really fill a spot for Tim Duncan because that's a big piece. And, you know, Kawhi, and they got LaMarcus Aldridge, and Kawhi was supposed to be taking that leap, and then he get hurt. And then he don't like the Spurs medical organization, so he went to Toronto. So then you're giving it to LaMarcus Aldridge, and then you gave him DeMar DeRozan. Now, I'll give Popovich credit because if you watch DeMar's game, it improved so much that he's a top 5 MVP candidate this year because of his playmaking, too, as well. He learned that from Popovich in the learning tree, you know, because he was willing to listen to Popovich and what he's teaching them. But, yeah, it's just not showing in the records, and he's just getting exposed, and I just think that he's probably just leaning towards retirement. And if you remember in the USA, you know, during the Olympics, like KD was very vocal in terms of Popovich and the way he was coaching because It's a different league now. Same with Tom Thibodeau up in New York. He's very old school and is not really showing in the records. So they're not going to adapt their coaching ways to benefit the young talent in today's NBA. They're still going to do their own way and see that they're going to win it. But it's just getting exposed.
It's been a blast, JP, bro. I appreciate you, man. 117 is now in the books. This is the Best of 7 Sports Talk. Let everybody know one more time, bro, where they can follow you at before we sign off.
Yeah, man. If y'all want to follow me on Twitter, it's at JPFranchise57. You can follow